You're listening to Frankly Speaking Sports with Larry Frank on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. I'm your host, Larry Frank, and we got a bunch of breaking news right out of the get-go on tonight's show. So we want to make sure that we get all the breaking news to you as quickly as possible as I update everything here that I can. And I think the best way to start doing this is for a lot of you that are not on right now, you're probably going to see this show on the replay. For those of you that are on, if you can go ahead and share it to your timeline, I would surely appreciate it. I'm not going to have time tonight to share it to everyone that is possible to share with until the rerun of the show. But if I have some people here that are able to do that, I would surely appreciate it if you can go ahead and share this to your timeline for me, as we have breaking news out of Tampa Bay, actually double breaking news out of Tampa Bay. I want to welcome my buddy Tommy from Temple Terrace and Eric from Gainesville on tonight. Been real busy with the new season that was starting, and in about 20 minutes, we're going to have former NFL offensive lineman, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, John Niland on with us. And, you know, what a great story that's going to be. So please go ahead, share this with your friends. But let's go ahead and start with breaking news out of the Tampa Bay area. And we got breaking news of all sorts right now, so we're going to try to get to you it as much and completely as possible. If you have not heard, Frankly Speaking Sports has reported, it has been confirmed by Greg Orman of The Athletic, so that's always great news, that Rakeem Nunez-Roches has signed a 2-year deal. He has re-signed with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers for $2.25 million guaranteed in the first year, $2.75 million in the second year, with incentives up to $1.5 million extra. So Roches Nunez, who's played so very well for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Vita Vea went down, is returning, and that's more depth. And I know Nancy Nunez, she's on our platform all the time. She is so happy of her son to be back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as are all we. Congratulations to Rakeem. Well-deserved 2-year contract. So, you know, like we said yesterday and on shows before, you got to go ahead and re-sign that defense. And pretty much, with the exception of maybe Ndamukong Suh, this entire defense is coming back next year. And I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of days, if sooner, that we hear something either way about Ndamukong Suh. But don't be surprised if it's in the next day or two you see another 1-year deal with Ndamukong Suh. But once again, those of you that are joining us, please go ahead and share this to your timeline. We start off with breaking news, 2 stories, 2 major stories out of the Tampa Bay area. First one is, like I said, Rakeem Nunez-Roches re-signs with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He will be in a Buccaneer uniform for the next 2 years. So congratulations once again, like I said a bit earlier, to Rakeem on this very great feat by him. He just proved himself all year long. And what a great player. Adds depth. If Vita Vea should get hurt and not play a full season, you got Nunez, which is right there to fill in the gaps. Again, we re-signed Kevin Minter We re-signed Barrett. We re-signed Levante David. This defense is coming back, ladies and gentlemen, and we can't wait. But in a much more disturbing story out of the city of Tampa, and, it's the whole story is not in, and, we really hate when we have to report stories about such I don't know what to say because I don't want to comment on the entire thing until all the facts come in, but very, very upsetting and disturbing news coming out of the men's basketball program in Tampa, Florida at USF. USF, as of a couple of minutes ago, just had their seventh player on this team go ahead and enter the transfer portal. If you haven't heard, Alexis Yetner, the junior redshirt, has also entered the portal. He is now the seventh player on the USF men's basketball team to enter that. USF, and I'm wondering every single day for the last 2 or 3 days, seems like somebody else on the USF men's basketball team is entering the portal. And you're always going to have those one-offs. Somebody doesn't like the coach, somebody this, they didn't get along. But when you start getting a number of players, and 7 of the players on the team entered the transfer portal, it's got to raise some eyebrows. It's got to really, get the people going in the athletic office and saying, what the heck is going on here? Well, we found out today what the heck is going on. But once again, we are going to report it. But once again, we don't have the facts behind it all. But what we do know is that USF is currently, the athletic department with the men's basketball team is investigating associate head coach Tom, I believe it's Heron, and coach Brian Gregory for multiple incidents of racially charged comments. Now, Brian Gregory is being charged for not disciplining the coach that made the remarks. Let me restate that again. Brian Gregory did not make these comments. It was associate head coach Tom Heron. But what we're finding out is that when it was brought to Coach Brian Gregory's attention, according to our sources, that the proper disciplinary action and the reporting it to the USF athletic department was not done. So this raises questions, how something can go on like this for a whole season and nobody finds out about it is besides me. It's besides me. Was this already, talked about? Was it trying to be hidden by the coaches? We do not know. But once again, if you're just joining us, breaking news twice. We talked about Hakeem re-signing with the Bucks, and the men's basketball team, USF, is now investigating 7 different basketball players on the men's basketball team have entered the transfer portal. There is an investigation going on with associate head coach Tom Heron on multiple incidents of racially charged comments towards players on the basketball team. As far as the involvement by head coach Brian Gregory, like I just said, we are waiting for more information, but as of now, it seems like he is being investigated to see if he followed the proper or did not follow the proper channels and failed to discipline the coach and report it to the USF athletic department. So like I said, you're wondering what's going on here. Well, guess what? We just found out what's going on here. And, no wonder why these players are entering. Why would you want to stay at a school where they are making racially, racial jokes or comments or whatever it might be? And as we get more information on this, we will go ahead and report it to you. As I just make sure that none of this information coming on right now, we don't need that, okay. But just want to let everybody know what's going on. Tonight, right before the show, the 7th player entered the portal, and now it's 7 USF players. As we get more information, we will bring it to you. Another way to find out is join us this Tuesday night on Bullseye, on our Bullseye Facebook group page, where our show, both Bradley Lewis Walker and myself, will have the most updated information on this for you. So once again, 2 things to start off the show with. Rakeem Nunez-Roches remains a Buck for the next 2 years, signing a 2-year deal, and USF Men's Athletic Department is now investigating their associate head coach on racially charged comments that the players have said that he's been making throughout the season. So that's the updated news there. One great bit of news and one, unfortunately, really sad bit of news. And, like I said, I'm going to wait to go ahead and make any comments until we know exactly what's going on. But just a terrible, terrible situation when you see the whole team go ahead, basically, and enter the portal due to some, possible really, really stupidity and stupid comments made by an assistant coach. So once we find out, once again, I will let you know. Now, a couple of things I want to go over. We got about 10 minutes before John Niland comes on. But I want to talk about a little bit about free agency and a couple comments today. Andy Dalton was one of the things today. If you did not hear about Andy Dalton, he signed a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears. But the one thing that I guess the Chicago Bears did not tell Andy Dalton is how to keep his mouth shut. Because the first thing Andy Dalton said when he's being interviewed, and why did you come here, is he said, because they told me that I would be the starting quarterback. The only problem is they didn't tell Nick Foles that, who is the other quarterback on this team. So, you already start on a team, waves are already caused, whether it's his fault, the Chicago Bears' fault, whoever's fault it might be. It just didn't sit well with the Chicago fans. I know the fans in Chicago are very, very, very upset about the whole situation, about signing Dalton, and it was to a 1-year deal, but that is what's done, and Andy Dalton looks like he's going to be the starting quarterback for the upcoming Chicago Bears. In other news, as we highlighted, if you haven't heard, Jameis Winston, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, who was on the New Orleans Saints last year, threw a touchdown pass actually in the Super Bowl versus the Buccaneers, has re-signed for a 1-year deal with the New Orleans Saints for a little bit more money than he did last year. But what this tells me is this, folks. They do not believe in Jameis Winston. They had a year to watch Jameis Winston. They had a year to see what he got in practice. For 17, 18, 19 weeks of playing football, they should know by now if Jameis Winston is the quarterback for that team or whether Jameis is not the quarterback for that team. And what baffles me is this. You don't believe what I'm being told here, if I'm Jameis Winston, is we do not believe in you enough to sign you to more than a 1-year deal. We think that Taysom Hill is just as qualified, if not more qualified than you as a quarterback. So we want to let this year go ahead and play out and have insurance that we have a backup quarterback right now in case anything happens. And, what that tells me is you do not believe in Jameis. They do not believe in Jameis Winston. And I don't know who leads this guy. I don't know who his agent. I know he fired his agent. Here's a guy that a couple years ago made $20 million a year. Last year played for $1 million, fired his agent, and now he's going to play more in the suitable area for a backup quarterback. But it raises a lot of question on who's managing this young man. And how smart are the people around him? What are they doing? So many opportunities out there where Jameis might have been able to land on and possibly be a starting quarterback. And once again, there is a chance that he will be sitting next year, 2021. He will still remain the backup quarterback on this New Orleans Saints. Now, some people say, well, they don't believe Jameis can run all these plays that the New Orleans Saints have. They need Tamsin Hill. And I'm going to tell you something. If you don't believe that this guy can run all the plays, then he's not worth having on the team. Okay? You're either confident in him or you're not confident in him. And what this is telling me, folks, from the New Orleans Saints fan is Sean Payton is not comfortable right now saying that Jameis Winston would be his starting quarterback. He's only comfortable enough to say that Jameis Winston will compete with Hill in order to see who is the better quarterback and who will start the 2021 season. Baffles me. Not sure what's going on here with the Saints, but this is a Saints team that just lost Drew Brees that is going to have, don't think just because they pop somebody in there, it's going to be a bed of roses next year. They're going to need to do a couple of things in order to stay competitive. And the one thing they're going to need to do is decide who this quarterback is going to be for them in 2021. Now, you talk about quarterbacks here, guys, and let me go ahead and grab this, take Jameis's name off there. There we go. But, the other thing, we talked about the Buccaneers at the beginning of this show. We talked about the breaking news, and we went over some things about two quarterbacks. One of the things that you got to realize is, and I mentioned this to some folks today, and I don't think a lot of people are even aware of it. We mentioned it on last night's show, but your Tampa Bay Buccaneers do not have a signed backup quarterback yet. Everyone assumes Blaine Gabbert's going to be back, and there's probably a pretty good chance they will sign Blaine Gabbert to a one-year deal. He knows the system just as well as anyone, if not better, because he's played in it before. But, you got to also remember Tom Brady, and believe me, there's nothing that man can't convince me of anymore. He's done everything, but you got to understand he is 43 years old. If he does get hurt, you need a qualified backup quarterback. And right now you're going to have to ask yourself, should he get hurt? Is Blaine Gabbert the answer? It's a good question. I don't think a lot of people in the Tampa Bay area are very comfortable with Blaine in the event that Tom does get hurt, but it's one of those situations where let's get somebody signed at least, knowing that we have somebody in place. Now, we are about 5 minutes away from having John Niland on with us. In other news involving Tampa Bay area, if you have not heard, and we're not going to go over all of the individuals today who are going to be all right, I'm just making sure that our guest, okay, good, he got the link. Very good. He'll be on in a couple minutes. But, the opening day pitches are starting to be announced in Major League Baseball. And next week, we're going to have a bunch of great guests, some catering to baseball on next week. And as we get closer to baseball season, which is a couple of weeks away, we'll be putting more former Major League Baseball players on as well. But it has been announced that Tyler Glass now will be the opening day pitcher, the starting opening day pitcher for your Tampa Bay Rays. About half, probably a dozen teams right now out of the 30 whatever teams there are in baseball have decided on an opening day pitcher. The other half have not. So we're not going to go through all of them right now. But those of you that want to know, in Miami, that's where the Tampa Bay Rays open up. Tyler Glass now will be your opening day pitcher. And I want to see if I can get an update for everybody here. There we go. We are in the third period right now at Amalie Arena. It is the Lightning beating the Blackhawks 3-2 with just over 5 minutes left in the third period. Let me see if I can get a quick scoring summary for you here. There was a goal by Colton, the young kid, gets another goal. Yanni Gord with the goal, and Alex Kilhorn with the goal. Hedman, Joseph, Maroon Sergachev, and even Andre Vasilevsky with an assist in this game. So you're winning, are winning currently with 5 minutes left in the game, 3-2. Vasilevsky has saved 19 of 21 shots so far in this game. Lightning are currently 20 wins, 6 losses, and 2 ties, while the Blackhawks are 14, 11, and 5. We will keep you posted on this game as it runs through the third quarter. But once again, 5.5 minutes left in this game. Lightning leading 3-2. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a couple of minutes away from having John Niland on with us. John is a former Dallas Cowboy, Philadelphia Eagle, played, I believe, 8 seasons in the NFL. His first year was the year I was born, 1966. So he played in the 60s, played in the 70s, played with some unbelievable players like Don Meredith. He played with Roger Staubach, played with Bob Lilly, all these great guys. And one of the things we'll be talking about when John gets on with us is, John, when I read these statistics to you in a little bit, you're going to be mind-boggled that this guy is, for some reason, not in the Football Hall of Fame, which, I've always believed that all these Hall of Fames have a good portion of them which are political. But at the end of the day, when you have a guy that has done what this guy has done in the NFL, there is no good reason, no good explanation, no good discussion on why this guy is not in the NFL Hall of Fame. Okay, let me tell him, keep going, follow it in. Sorry, guys, I'm explaining to John how to go ahead and get in here, so it should be a couple of minutes. Okay, let me just tell him to keep following the instructions. All right, so we should have John in a minute. While John's getting in, let's go ahead and take a quick station break. That way we can allow our affiliates and all the people out there carrying Frankly Speaking Sports to go ahead and identify themselves.
You're listening to Frankly Speaking Sports with Larry Frank on Northeast Streaming Sports.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Frankly Speaking Sports. We are moments away. We know John is trying to get in right now on our network, so I'm speaking to him through the phone. I do a lot of the different things around here, from producing to bringing people in to taking people off and stuff. So just bear with me a second while I try to help John get on. He should be on in a couple of moments. So I know he's trying real hard to get on right now, but if you got anybody wants to leave any comments, no, Facebook user wants to know if I'm Larry Bird. I'll tell you something about Larry Bird, guys. people ask me all the time, and I joke and I laugh, but the best all-purpose team basketball player I ever seen in my life. By far, he is the best. People talk about LeBron James today, talking about Kobe Bryant, they talk about Michael Jordan, all terrific players, all great players. But when I go back in time and I say, who are the two best team players that I ever got to see, you got to understand that it was incredible between Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Just two great basketball players of their time. Let me go see what's going on with good buddy John here and see what's coming on. Are you? All right. I just went ahead and text John. Let's see if he's on his way on here. All right. I think we're going to have to give him a phone call in a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me see if I can give him a quick phone call. All right, not there. All right, let me go ahead and give John a call, see what's going on here. I wanted to give him a couple extra seconds here. All right, that was his wife's phone, so that won't do us any good right there. So we'll give him a couple more minutes and find out. Let me see if I can tape him a message here. John. There we go. Hello? Yeah, but you don't go on Facebook. Follow the link that I gave you and click onto that link and it'll work. It'll walk you through. And what's it say underneath it on the bottom? Right. So go ahead and join the stream. Are you on a phone or a computer? Yeah, it should let you go right in. There should be a way. It walks you right through. In it says join stream, and then you hit join, and it should take you right in. I believe you. I'll tell you what. Go ahead and log out and then go back in and try it one more time. If not, we'll just do the interview over the phone. All right? Bye. All right, John's going to try to come back in one more time. I'm going to tease John because, I think we've had like 20 offensive linemen on this show, and it seems like offensive linemen have problems when the cuts are coming on here. So I'm going to have to tease that. Randy Grimes always used to tell me that when he came on my show a couple of times. He made sure the second time that he knew how to come on because he didn't want me to honestly believe that it was offensive linemen. But we're going to go ahead and I got a Facebook user here, but I don't know what your name is because it just says Facebook user because you haven't given BeLive permission to go ahead and use your name on the show. So I can't even make fun of you now because I don't know who you are right now. It might be my buddy DeCruz, but I'm not sure. But we'll go ahead and find out if that's who it is. I know when I look, actually, I might be able to look right now. We'll find out if it's oh, my good buddy Paul Caruso. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Some people wake up for this show. Oh my goodness. Paul Caruso is coming. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining us today. We're giving John one more minute. I'm going to go ahead and just give him a phone call. He said, all right, let's do this interview over the phone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and do this. I got everything up the way I want to. It is my great honor, thrill, and pleasure. Now, I want you to listen to this, folks. I mean, just listen to the information I'm about to give you right here, okay? The next individual that we're going to have on our show played for the Dallas Cowboys, played for the Philadelphia Eagles, started his career in 1966. He led a rushing attack to the top 5 finished in rushing 8 of the 9 years that he was on the offensive line. 9 seasons, Cowboys went to the playoffs, okay? 8 times, in 9 seasons. Won 7 NFC East titles, okay? He appeared in 6 NFL NFC title games, winning 2 NFC crowns and 1 Lombardi trophy. And he's by far one of the best guards to ever play in his era. Let's welcome in John Niland. John, how you doing? I'm doing good. Sorry about the technical difficulties. It was just funny. We were laughing because we had probably an old buddy of yours on not too long ago. We have a lot of offensive linemen on here. This show, former, and Randy Grimes was on here, who used to play for the Buccaneers, and he says, listen, every time you get an offensive lineman on your show, they're going to have trouble getting into your computer. Well, ever since he said that, I can't have an offensive lineman on my show who can get into the computer. So I think he jinxed all the offensive linemen.
He did, but he was talking about the offensive line. We're not the smartest guys in the world, but we get the job done.
Oh, you sure do. Let me ask you this, my friend. 1966, you're drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, let's go back in time. I mean, what is that, 54, just about 55 years ago, your first time playing in the NFL. Talk about that draft day. And for those people who only understand what the draft is like today, explain to them what the NFL draft was like back in 1966.
Well, in 1966, there were 2 leagues fighting for the players. Not like it is today, but 2 leagues were the NFL and the AFL. And, the AFL was making a March straight ball to try to get all the players. And so what they did is the New York Jets drafted me after the 66 season or 55 season. The New York Jets drafted me in the AFL, and the Dallas Cowboys drafted me in the NFL. So obviously, I went to the NFL. Don't ask me why. It's not important, but I did.
Now, offensive lineman, you started, I believe, as a tackle your first year, but after that, I believe you played mostly offensive guard. What was it like back then? And I ask you this because the NFL is a completely different game today than it was back in the 60s and 70s. What was it like to be an offensive lineman back in the 60s? Would you say it's pretty much the same as today? Was it a lot harder back then? Or what would your analysis of that be?
I think back when I played, the average player was probably 250 pounds. I think the average player today was probably 270. Maybe even bigger. Talk about defensive players protected, but offense and defense players they were much bigger back then. They're fast, and they're still becoming some of the most difficult position to play because multiple offenses require multiple offensive linemen who can call the offense in their own head and then execute the play on the field. So consequently, that's the biggest change made. Is the players today, they know what they're expecting to do. They're expected to get out there and compete. And more importantly, they're smart players, smarter players than we were.
Now, talk about, you play with two great quarterbacks. You had the privilege, and probably more than that, but the two I'm talking about is when you were with the Cowboys, you started, I believe, with Donnie Meredith, and then, of course, you saw Roger Staubach begin his career as a Cowboy. Talk about protecting both of those guys and how it was to play with both Meredith and Staubach.
Well, Meredith, of course, liked to get out of the pocket once in a while and throw that ball even if he's going to be trapped. Roger Staubach wouldn't do that. But then again, between the years that Roger came in and the years that I got drafted, we really bolstered the offensive line. We brought in more smarter players, bigger players. When you get Rayfield Wright and Blaine Nye and Tommy Lucio and the rest of them, these guys are great ball players, not just good ball players, but great ball players. And we just started to move our offensive team in a positive direction. You could see that our performance improved greatly over the years of 65, 66, 67, 68. We go to the playoffs. Unfortunately, we lost. We went to the playoffs. My senior year, like my freshman year with the Cowboys, we went to the playoffs years in a row. That's it today. But we were in the playoffs 10 years ago. And that we wanted Landry called the plays. For the most part, we did. But we did it with a new quarterback called Roger Staubach.
All righty. Are you still there, my friend? Yeah, you're breaking up real bad wherever you're standing at the moment. All right. I think I hear you now. Okay, yeah, I could hear you. All right, now let me ask you this. You were just talking about Roger Staubach. I mean, how great is it to watch a guy like Roger go from being a rookie quarterback to just excelling in the NFL and watching his progression over the years?
Well, Roger was a leader. The most important thing, Roger was a leader. He was a verbal leader. He was a performance leader. Anybody can be a verbal leader. Just got to open your mouth and speak highly and talk in a loud voice. But not many people can be an emotional team leader. And for that reason, that's what the difference between Roger and Craig. And really, frankly, all of our, Don Meredith included, all of our quarterbacks were pretty much mechanical quarterbacks that played well. But we didn't have a leader until we got in there with Roger. Roger just led our team to the Super Bowl and obviously to great championships.
Now, when you play on a team like the Cowboys and you do all that winning, I mean, basically, like you said, almost every 8 of 9 years you went to the playoffs. I mean, talk about what that does for an organization and what that does for the camaraderie around the whole team when you don't know anything but winning.
Well, we weren't trying to. Our goal was not to win 10 championships on the offense. Our goal was to win the Super Bowl. So anything short of the Super Bowl, even though we had a better team, had performance as well, we didn't win the Super Bowl. We lost it our first year, if you recall, and that wasn't due to us either. And then we came back the second year, we won it. And so the first year, you know, we had people more in there. They beat us up. Did a pretty good job. And, you know, for the overall performance of our team, we came back the following year and beat everybody.
Yep. And now let me ask you this. In this game of football, and I say it even today, how underrated are offensive linemen? They seem like they never get as much attention as they deserve because it's not a huge statistical position. I mean, they don't keep major stats that everybody sees. How underrated are the offensive linemen?
Well, offensive linemen are great according to their blocking silence. You know, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a strong running attack. The team probably was underrated going into the 65, 66 season. And, you know, we didn't have very many good guards back then. You know, I was drafted number 1, so they kind of made their choice back then. They were going to, what's that thing? You know, I think it's just the team was probably underrated back then. There's not many people really paid attention to the offensive linemen. We had to pay attention to ourselves.
Now, how much better of a player did you become playing with the Cowboys, knowing that every day you had to go up against Bob Lilly in practice?
It was fun. I have to say, if it wasn't for Bob Lilly, I would not have made All-Pro. I wouldn't have made all those years of my career. He and I got across each other and helped each other tremendously. He helped me a lot more than I probably helped him.
And how about the great Tom Landry? You played for what I considered one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. I mean, talk about the relationship with Tom.
As far as with who?
Tom Landry.
Tom was kind of hard to understand. You know, he was my coach the whole time I was there. Towards the end of my career, I think I understood him better. He just wanted you to get out there and make the block and make the block very distinctively. That's all he asked us to do. Blocking was very simple, but it was very complicated because we had a multiple blocking assignments. My game plan had to be memorized. I had to memorize my game plan so I could make the right blocks on the right plays. You know, you got 50, 60, 70 games to play. 70 plays a game, and you better know what you're doing, not all 70 of them.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. I read this right before you came on to all our listeners, John, but here's a guy, being yourself, you led the Russian attack with top 5 rushing in 8 of 9 years that you were there. Your team was in the top 5 in rushing. 8 seasons of your 9, the Cowboys go to the playoffs. You won 7 NFC East titles. You appear in 6 NFL NFC title games, winning 2 NFC crowns and 1, of course, Super Bowl. You're one of the best guards of your era. Can you give me any reason why those credentials does not warrant you a place in the NFL Hall of Fame?
Well, I think, you know, the Hall of Fame is a nice gesture. If I got in it, I'd be absolutely elated. If I don't get in it, that's fine too. But I know how good I was, and that's all that counts.
You know, and you say that, and, you know, you're right. I mean, the results show. It doesn't have to be here where you have to sell somebody and say it because, I mean, the numbers, like you said, they don't lie. They're right in front of me. They're right in front of anybody else. But, you know, do you personally feel 100% that you should be in there?
I think so, based on the performance that they've shown in the past. You know, they have people in the Hall of Fame, which I thought, gee, I'm surprised they're in it. But then again, well, you know, it's like you. If you get on the bandwagon and promote John Niland, there's a good chance I can make it. Because it really comes from the sportscasters, there's the sports reporters, the sports enthusiasts around the league, and that's really the ones that vote on this, not the ball players. But yeah, I think it would be nice to see if they could come with they've only got one guy in the Hall of Fame, that's Ray Bill Wright. He was the only offensive lineman they got in the Hall of Fame for the first 60 years. That's not right. That's not right.
No, I agree with you.
We got to get another couple guys in there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So what would it mean to you, John? Let's say you're sitting at home with your wife and you get that knock on the door and it's that guy who we see, I forget his name, that we all see on TV knocking on people's door, and you get the notice that you are going to become a member of the Hall of Fame. What would that mean to you?
Well, it would be wonderful. I wouldn't be surprised as much as I would be grateful. You know, being surprised is just a waste of time. Being grateful, I'd have to go to my teammates, and I would go to my teammates and thank every one of them, and my coaches as well. You know, that to me is the difference between what I would do and what some people do. I want to thank the people that worked around me that gave me the ability to play and gave me the smarts to play the game smartly.
And, you know, I hope everyone does get to that point where, you know, they try to encourage the Hall of Fame committee to go ahead and put you in because, I mean, all those players that, and don't get me wrong, I know the players that you played with, they were all great, the Bob Lillies, the Roger Staubach, they were all great players, so I don't want to take nothing away from them. But when it comes to that team and that running game and you protecting Roger the way you did, I personally don't think, and I'm not just saying it because I'm talking to you now, but I can't think of a guy that is more deserving than you to be nominated for the Hall of Fame.
Well, if they would do that, I would appreciate it. I'll give my thanks right now if they would do it.